Hey guys, Jen here. I am coming to you from Budapest, Hungary to talk to you about the ins and outs of river cruising in Europe. River cruising is a great way to see the beautiful cities of Europe. I'm here along the Danube River, which is one of the most popular rivers when it comes to river cruising. And maybe you might want to know a little bit of why am I an expert on this topic? Well, it's my 5th year on the rivers. I did 1 season as a crew member, and this is my 4th season with a different company as a tour director. I worked the Danube, I worked the Rhine, I worked the Main River, and long before that, I was a guest twice. If you recall from my other videos, that's how I met my husband. I was a guest, he was working on the ship. Here we are 8 years later. Now folks, the company I work for is not affiliated with my YouTube channel, so that's why I'm not mentioning it. Now, there are a few things when people show up for their very first river cruise that tend to take them by surprise. And I wanted to take that surprise out of the equation, you guys. So I am going to start with the first and foremost #1 thing that people are the most surprised about, and that is double and triple docking of the ships. It doesn't matter how expensive your river cruise was, whether you're going with a budget company or a luxury company, when you are in a busy city, in a busy port, you will be docked next to other ships. A lot of times there's double docking and triple docking. During the busy seasons, when you're in Vienna, when you're docked in Vienna, there's gonna be ships 3 deep. What does that mean? It means for the time that you're docked, out your window is gonna be the window of another person's room on another ship. This is a consistency every time, and it's probably the thing that surprises people the most and gets them sometimes the most upset when they arrive for their river cruise, that they will be docked next to another ship. A lot of folks show up for their river cruise thinking it's gonna be super leisurely, not a lot of walking, you're just sailing along the river. If you choose to make that be your decision on your trip, then yes, you can have that. But if you want to go out on land and take the tours in the different cities that the river cruise goes to, you will have to do a lot of walking. There is quite a lot of walking, folks, and Europe means lots of cobblestones. So you need sturdy, good walking shoes. You need to be able to really walk for several hours at a time to be able to keep up with the tours. So yes, there is a lot of walking. So if you have walking difficulties, or maybe you haven't been keeping up with your walking, I'd start adding the extra steps before you go on your vacation so that you are ready and conditioned for all that walking that you're gonna do. You guys, I really cannot emphasize the amount of walking. Be ready for lots of walking. Something else that often surprises people is that there's more travel involved than what you realize depending on your itinerary. So please do research your itinerary. For example, a lot of Danube cruises end up going to Prague at the beginning or the end, but there is no way to get the ship from the Danube River up to the Vltava River in Prague. There is over 3 hours of driving. Again, it doesn't matter which company you go with, you are going to have a 3.5-hour drive to get to Prague, or to leave Prague and get to your river ship wherever it happens to be located. There's also itineraries that have even farther destinations on either end, and do the research. It might be a long day of travel, and if that's not your thing, choose another trip. Another thing that surprises a lot of the North Americans who come to Europe in general, and then a lot of them tend to take river cruises for the first time when they do make that first big trip to Europe, is pay toilets. You guys, if you have free time and you're wandering around and there's a potty break, the toilets are not free. You need to pay for the toilets in Europe. So this doesn't just apply to river cruising, this is European travel in general, but I have found that a lot of folks are surprised by this fact and they're not prepared. Another thing to keep in mind, not all companies are created equal. Just as there's different budget levels, there's different levels of accommodation, there's different levels of inclusions when it comes to your tour. Some river cruises include the land tours in each destination. Some don't. Sometimes you have to pay for it, sometimes it's all inclusive. Sometimes you have to pay for your alcohol. Sometimes it's all inclusive. So do the research ahead of time, and then you know exactly what to expect and exactly what you're getting and paying for before you arrive. Now your ship is going to be on a tight schedule. What does that mean? They're going to give you an all aboard time. If you're not there for all aboard, there'll usually be a phone number on your key card or whatever means your company uses, and you got to get to the ship because it's going to leave without you. You need to be prompt when it comes to sailing times. Also, and I've said this in my other tips videos as well, but it bears repeating. One, there will be a lot of people who speak English, but not everyone will be able to. Also, not everyone wants your American dollars. Sorry, I say this as an American. Sometimes Americans assume everybody wants to go around what the Americans want. Anyway, don't assume they want your American dollars. A lot of places take credit card in Europe, but you have to ask before you assume. Always ask if somebody is not on the euro in a European country like Budapest in Hungary, for example. They're on the forint. If you go in somewhere, ask them if they'll accept euros. They will usually give you the change in the local currency if they do accept euros. One of the questions people tend to ask a lot is, can I go to the ship early? And usually, 99% of the time, the answer is always no. On the river cruises, you guys, literally when one group leaves in the morning, the next group of guests comes on just a few hours later. So the crew is frantically working at a super fast pace to get the entire ship turned around. So when they tell you you can't get on early, that's the reason. It's not because anyone's trying to inconvenience you. Again, the crew works super hard in just a few hours to turn the entire ship around for the next group. All right, you guys, I hope this video has been a little bit helpful when it comes to helping you plan and what to expect on your European river cruise. If you have any questions or comments, just add them below. I'm happy to hear your own feedback and your own personal experiences. Please remember to like and subscribe to my channel for lots more great travel videos. See you guys next time. And be sure to check out some of my other helpful videos that I have. I'll include the links here as well. I've got some tips for first-time travel in Europe. I've got some packing tips, so I hope you'll check them out and they might be useful for you.